Hi, I'm Gemma. I used to think family was supposed to have your back, especially on important days. But my stepsister Melissa's wedding taught me that some people will throw you under the bus to make themselves look better, even if they're supposed to be family. Gemma, you look interesting, my stepmom Diane said as I entered the bridal suite. Her eyes narrowed as they scanned my burgundy bridesmaid dress. Thanks, I replied. The seamstress did a great job with the alterations. Melissa looked up from her makeup chair. Oh, good. It fits. I was worried after all that drama with the sizing. Drama, that wasn't my fault, I reminded her. The bridal shop ordered the wrong size even though we gave them the correct measurements. Diane's laugh cut through the room like glass. Well, darling, measurements can be subjective, especially when we're in denial about our true size. The dress fits perfectly now. That's what matters. It's just... Diane tilted her head with fake concern. Don't you think it's a bit tight across the hips? I'm only thinking about the photos. My best friend Taylor stepped between us. The dress looks amazing on her. Those alterations were worth every penny. Taylor, honey, this is Melissa's day. Everything needs to be perfect. Diane's voice dripped with condescension. Everyone looks beautiful, Melissa interjected. Let's not stress about dresses. I just don't understand why Gemma couldn't have ordered the correct size, Diane continued. Everyone else managed to. Mom, please, Melissa whispered. Not today. I forced a smile. It's fine, Mel. I just expect people to take responsibility when they create problems, Diane said pointedly. I didn't create any problems, I said through gritted teeth. The bridal shop made a mistake. My dad poked his head in. Ladies, photographer's ready. Everything okay? Robert, don't you think Gemma's dress looks too small on her? Diane asked. She looks beautiful, like all the bridesmaids, Dad replied. Men never notice these things. Diane dismissed him. Trust me, all anyone will see is how that fabric is straining. The ceremony went beautifully, and I managed to avoid Diane during most of the reception. But then came the speeches. After the maid of honor spoke, Diane grabbed the microphone unexpectedly. I just want to say how proud I am of my beautiful daughter, Diane began. Melissa has always been so considerate of others, even when planning her wedding. She even insisted on including her stepsister Gemma as a bridesmaid, despite all the challenges. For those who don't know, poor Gemma here caused quite a stir when her dress arrived. The wrong size, apparently. Diane laughed, and a few uncomfortable chuckles rippled through the crowd. Melissa was so stressed, worried her stepsister might not have anything to wear, but she paid for emergency alterations out of her own wedding budget. That's the kind of selfless person my daughter is. So let's raise a glass to Melissa, who made sure everyone felt included today, even when they made things difficult. And Gemma, honey, don't worry about the photos. I'm sure we can do something with Photoshop. 200 guests turned to look at me. My face burned as Diane handed the microphone to the best man. Did she seriously just do that? Taylor whispered. She did, I confirmed. And by the way, Melissa didn't pay for those alterations. I did. All $250 of them. My phone buzzed with a text from Aunt Patricia. Meet me by the bar in 5. That woman needs to be put in her place. She's always waited for moments when I can't respond without looking like I'm causing drama, I explained to Aunt Patricia at the bar. Your mother would be livid, Aunt Patricia said. Diane's always been threatened by you because you remind Robert of his life before her. Threatened by me? I laughed bitterly. You look just like your mother, and Robert lights up when you enter a room. Haven't you noticed how Diane always criticizes you when your father's nearby? Taylor joined us with wine. What's the plan? I'm about ready to tell that woman exactly what I think of her. No scenes, I sighed. This is still Melissa's wedding. Melissa should have shut that speech down, Taylor argued. You know she avoids conflict. Besides, Diane made it sound like Melissa was being charitable toward me. Aunt Patricia sipped thoughtfully. Did anyone else know about the dress situation? The bridesmaids knew there was a mix-up, but only Taylor knew all the details. Why? Because Diane lied about who paid for the alterations. That's defamation. Defamation, I repeated. She publicly stated something false that damages your reputation. I spotted bridesmaid Caitlin heading to the restroom and followed her. Gemma, I'm so sorry about that speech, she blurted immediately. What exactly did Diane tell you about the dress? Caitlin looked uncomfortable. She said you ordered the wrong size on purpose because you were jealous of Melissa, that you wanted to cause problems. I felt like I'd been slapped. What? Why would I do that? I didn't believe her, Caitlin assured me, but she kept saying how Melissa had to pay for rush alterations. I paid for those alterations myself. I have the receipt. She told everyone Melissa paid, even the groom's family. Did she say this in front of my dad? Multiple times. Your dad offered to reimburse Melissa, but Diane said no, that you needed to learn responsibility. My phone dinged with a text from bridesmaid Jen. Check your email, sending something important. I opened a voice memo recording. The subject, you should hear this. It was Diane, clearly recorded before the wedding. Trust me, we need a backup plan. Gemma will find some way to make this day about her. Remember her Sweet 16? She just had to announce her college acceptance that day. Mom, the shop made a mistake with her size, Melissa protested. That's what she wants you to think. She's manipulative, just like her mother was. Gemma would never sabotage my wedding. You're too trusting. I've known her type my whole life. I'll make sure everyone knows who caused problems if she tries anything. 2 weeks after the wedding, I sat in my apartment with evidence. Screenshots, the voice recording, statements from bridesmaids, and my receipt. My dad was coming for what he thought was a casual lunch. Are you sure about this? Taylor asked. It's not just about the wedding anymore. It's about years of manipulation. When Dad arrived with takeout, we made small talk until he noticed my tension. Everything okay? You seem off? We need to talk about what happened at Melissa's wedding. His smile faded. Diane already explained. What exactly did she explain? I interrupted. What version of events did you hear? He sighed. She said you were upset about the speech, but that she was just praising Melissa's generosity. Did she tell you she lied about who paid for the dress alterations? Melissa paid. I pushed the receipt across the table. I paid. $250. You even drove me to the seamstress, remember? He stared at it, confused. But Diane said, Diane lied. I played him the recording. As he listened, his face darkened. I showed him the bridesmaid texts and statements. Why would she do this? He finally asked, voice hollow. Aunt Patricia thinks she's threatened by me because I remind you of Mom. Dad rubbed his face. I had no idea it was this bad. What I want is a public apology from her, acknowledging she lied about the dress, the alterations, and her accusations. She'll never agree. Then I'm prepared to take this further. Patricia says what she did could be considered defamation. You'd sue your stepmom? He looked shocked. I don't want to, but I will if she refuses to acknowledge what she did. We agreed to meet at their house with Aunt Patricia that evening. When we arrived, Diane's smile disappeared when she saw Patricia. What's this about? She asked. We need to talk about what happened at the wedding, I said. Are you still upset about that little joke? It was nothing personal. It wasn't a joke. You deliberately lied to make me look bad. I presented the evidence one piece at a time. The receipt, statements, and recording. Diane's face grew paler. You recorded me. That's an invasion of privacy, she sputtered. I didn't record you. One of Melissa's bridesmaids did because she was concerned. Robert, are you letting her attack me in our own home? Diane turned to Dad. Did you say those things, Diane? Did you lie about who paid? Dad asked. I might have been confused about who paid, she stammered. And accusing Gemma of trying to sabotage the wedding, calling her manipulative? I was just looking out for Melissa. By lying about me? I asked. How does that protect Melissa? You've always been jealous of her, Diane snapped. You resent that your father found happiness again. I've always supported Dad's happiness. What I resent is you trying to drive a wedge between us. In my professional opinion, Aunt Patricia interjected, you've crossed into legally actionable territory. You're threatening to sue me? Diane's eyes widened. I want a public acknowledgement of what you did and an apology. Absolutely not. I have nothing to apologize for. Then I'll be speaking with Patricia's colleague who specializes in defamation cases. You ungrateful little... Diane lunged for my papers. Dad stepped between us. Diane, stop this right now. You're choosing her over me after everything I've done? I'm choosing the truth, Dad said firmly. Diane's face contorted with rage. Get out! Both of you! It's my house too, Dad reminded her. And nobody's leaving until we resolve this. There's nothing to resolve. The recording is your voice, Diane, I pointed out. So what if I said those things? You've never accepted me. You've always been difficult. That's not true. I tried for years to build a relationship with you. You want a public apology? I'll tell everyone what a vindictive, spoiled brat you are, using your father to attack me. She grabbed her phone and started texting furiously. Send those texts, and I'll file the suit tomorrow morning, Aunt Patricia warned. Diane froze, then slowly put her phone down. 3 days after our confrontation, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. News travels fast in families, and Diane had made sure everyone knew we were at odds, though her version painted her as the victim of an ungrateful stepdaughter. Have you heard from your dad? Taylor asked as we met for coffee. Every day. He's staying at a hotel right now, trying to figure things out. And Diane? Radio silence, but Melissa called yesterday. What did she say? Taylor leaned forward. She was upset at first, thinking I was attacking her mom out of spite. But then I sent her the recording and the statements from her bridesmaids. And she was shocked. She had no idea her mom had said those things about me, or that she'd lied about who paid for the alterations. Does she believe you now? I nodded. She apologized for not speaking up during the speech, said she froze and didn't know what to do. Typical Melissa, Taylor muttered, always avoiding conflict. Can't really blame her. She grew up with Diane as her model for handling problems. My phone rang. It was Aunt Patricia. Hey, I answered. You're on speaker with Taylor. Just got off the phone with my colleague, Patricia said. Based on the evidence, you have a solid defamation case. The recording is admissible since it was made in a public setting where there's no expectation of privacy. The witness statements corroborate the false statements Diane made about you. So what now? I asked. Now we give her a chance to make it right before filing. I've drafted a settlement letter outlining our terms. Which are a public apology acknowledging she lied sent to everyone who attended the wedding, a private letter of apology to you addressing the pattern of behavior, and she covers our legal fees to date. Has my dad seen this? Yes. He's conflicted, but he understands this isn't going away. After hanging up, Taylor gave me a concerned look. Are you really prepared to go through with this? It could get ugly. It's already ugly, I sighed. But for once, I'm not backing down. The next evening, my dad called asking to meet. When I arrived at the cafe, he was already there with Melissa. Hey, I said cautiously, sliding into the booth. I asked Melissa to join us because she has something to share, Dad explained. Melissa looked uncomfortable. I found more recordings on Mom's phone, she said quietly. She's been saying things about you for years, planning ways to make you look bad to Dad. You went through her phone? I was surprised. Melissa usually avoided confrontation at all costs. After I heard that recording you sent me, I got suspicious. I know her passcode, and I had to know if it was a one-time thing or a pattern. And, I prompted, it's definitely a pattern. She has notes dating back years, things she planned to say about you, ways to turn situations against you. She even has a note from right after your mom died, strategizing how to replace her memory. My dad looked devastated. I had no idea, Gemma, I swear. I know, Dad. She's refusing the settlement terms, he continued. Says she'll fight it in court. Then that's what we'll do, I said firmly. No, wait, Melissa interjected. I have another idea. She explained that she'd confronted her mother with what she found. Diane had broken down, admitting everything but begging Melissa not to tell anyone else. She cares about her reputation more than anything. Melissa explained. The idea of everyone knowing what she's done terrifies her. So what are you suggesting? I asked. I told her I'd keep quiet on one condition. She accepts your terms. All of them. Otherwise, I'll send everyone the recordings I found. You blackmailed your own mother? My jaw dropped. I prefer to think of it as giving her a chance to do the right thing, Melissa said with unexpected steel in her voice. She has until tomorrow to decide. The next day, Diane sent the public apology email to everyone who attended the wedding. It was brief but clear. She admitted to lying about who paid for the alterations, acknowledged making false statements about me attempting to sabotage the wedding, and apologized for her behavior. The private letter she sent me was clearly written by a lawyer, but it satisfied the terms, acknowledging the pattern of behavior and promising to cease all defamatory statements. 2 months later, Dad moved out permanently. He and Diane were officially separated, with divorce proceedings underway. Do you feel vindicated? Taylor asked as we packed up his things from the house. Not vindicated, just free, I replied. For the first time in years, I don't have to worry about what story she's telling about me. My dad emerged from the bedroom with another box. Almost done in there. How are you doing with all this? I asked him. I should have seen it sooner, he sighed. All those years I thought you two just had personality conflicts. I never imagined she was actively trying to drive us apart. She was good at hiding it from you. Still, I'm your father. I should have protected you better. We can't change the past, Dad, but we can move forward. Later that evening, as we unpacked at his new apartment, my phone chimed with a text from Melissa. Mom's telling people you forced her to write that apology. I sent them all the recordings. Game over for her. I showed it to my dad, who shook his head sadly. She'll never change, will she? He asked. Probably not, I replied. But it doesn't matter anymore. Her words can't hurt me now that everyone knows the truth. I took a photo of Dad and me in his new place and posted it with the caption, Fresh starts, new beginnings, and the truth finally set free. Within minutes, comments poured in from family and friends, messages of support and understanding. For the first time in years, I felt completely seen. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even, it's about getting free.